It's honestly not surprising that the Israeli government would start attacking UN peacekeepers because the Israeli government doesn't care about the UN unless the UN is bending over backwards to support the Israeli government. That's the only time the Israeli government and people like bibi Hitler likes the UN. Any other time, uh, the UN criticizes the Israeli government, they somehow become anti Semitic. But when they're in favor of the Israeli government, the UN instantly becomes pro Israeli. How does that make any sense whatsoever?
A lot has changed since Emmanuel Macron's meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu last year. Tensions had been brewing for the past few weeks, but on Tuesday their relationship turned particularly sour after the French president told his cabinet that the Israeli leader shouldn't forget his country was created through a UN decision and that now was not the time to disregard UN decisions. He's referring to the resolution adopted in 1947 on the plan to partition Palestine into a Jewish state and an Arab state. Netanyahu was quick to hit back, saying it wasn't a UN decision that established the State of Israel, but the victory that was achieved in Israel's war of independence, also making a jab at France's anti-Semitic past.
Yeah, bibi Hitler is as anti Semitic as any Nazi. Uh, bibi Hitler hates any Muslim and Arab people are Semitic speaking people. So if you hate Arabs, you're anti Semitic. This is hilarious that uh, anti Semite Bibi Netanyahu thinks only people who hate Jewish people are anti Semitic. No, that is not the case, especially when you understand what the definition of anti-Semitism is.
Relations have been tense since Macron called for a halt to arms deliveries to Israel, saying it was the only way to put an end to the wars in Gaza and Lebanon, prompting this response.
All civilized countries should be standing firmly by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them.
It's funny how Bibi Netanyahu thinks that every nation has to support him in his genocide, and that they don't, they're uncivilized. Yeah, a genocide is definitely not something a civilized government does. The only uncivilized government in this situation is the Israeli government.
But what prompted Macron's latest critique is the situation in Lebanon, more specifically Israeli fire against UN peacekeepers who are stationed in the south. The United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, or UNIFIL, counts 10,000 soldiers, including 700 from France.
It is totally unacceptable for UNIFIL troops to be deliberately targeted by Israeli armed forces. We condemn it. We do not and will not tolerate it happening again.
Anybody that attacks UN peacekeepers is attacking the UN and every single member nation in the UN, in my opinion. And this is the government declaring war against the UN.
40 countries have condemned the IDF's actions, and Paris has summoned the Israeli ambassador to France as a result. The UN says 5 peacekeepers have been wounded, but also that UN premises had been struck on at least 20 occasions since Israel launched its ground invasion of Lebanon.